You're watching Talking About Orks. On this episode of Talking About Orks, we're going to go over the Wierdboy. These are the last HQ choice we're going to go over, the last normal HQ choice. And it's not gonna, hopefully this won't be as long as the other videos. I've only had limited use of the Wierdboy. He's a lot of fun. He can provide some good punch to your army, but generally the other choices are much better. So unless someone's looking for something cheap or going for a specific power, you probably won't see the Wierdboy too much. Used to be under 4th edition where you could try and get the war every turn with a pair of warp heads, but with the run rule that really isn't necessary anymore. So when you want to use a Wierdboy, you do want to keep him in a unit of boys so he can get the leadership from the mob rule, so his psychic powers will have a good chance of going off. And also 2 of his powers are dependent on the unit he's in, so two powers won't do anything really unless he's with the unit. So I will see him with a unit of shooters. That way he can, one of his powers will allow the unit to deep strike, they come off the table and deep strike somewhere else. And if he's a unit with a unit of shooters, they can drop down and unload their shooters and big shooters after the deep strike. So that's one really good use for the Wierdboy. And if you're trying to get a specific use, you definitely want to take the warp head upgrade so you can get that reroll if you don't get the power you want. And just like with the other random orc stuff, there is a downside. That's if you roll a 1, he'll actually blast himself. So you have that risk in addition to the perils of the warp. He's got a couple of really good shooting attacks. The 24-inch strength 6 AP3 small blast pinning is definitely a nice little shot, especially if you're playing MEQ armies. And the other one is the single melta attack in the Orc Codex is the Wierdboy Zap power with a 36-inch range, gives you an 18-inch melta range, strength 10 AP2. That's definitely nothing to laugh at and will decimate whatever it shoots. In my limited playing with the Wierdboy, I've actually melted a Land Raider with this attack. The Warpath is a great power also, which gives the unit he's in +1 attack until the beginning of the next Orc turn, so that's on your turn and your opponent's turn. All your boys, all the units, all the models in that unit have +1 attack. So if you're using a good sized unit of shooters, they get to shoot, and you get to charge with 3 base attacks. That could be a lot of fun. Here we go is the power that allows them to deep strike. And finally, you get the chance of a free wall, but as I said, with the run rule in 5th edition, that really doesn't do much anymore. It's definitely not as good as it used to be. And because of the run rules, the biggest reason why you won't see warp heads on the field very much, or Wierdboys / warp heads. Warp head is the upgrade that lets you reroll the power. But if you're looking for a cheap HQ choice that's actually effective, 55-point Wierdboy is a good choice, because he does have some powers that could be a great benefit to your army. Well, that's about all I have to say about the Wierdboy. There's really not a whole lot. There's no other options. You can't give him anything. You can't give him any war gear. He can get a power weapon in close combat. That's if one of his powers that go off in close combat that one of the shooting attacks goes off in close combat, then he gets a power weapon. And if he's also in close combat, you don't have to worry about the blasting himself, because that also gives you a power weapon. So that's it. That's what we have to say about the Wierdboy. If you want to try out a Wierdboy, you can, but you probably won't ever see one in a tournament or competitive army list.